Hey everybody, this is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Quick little weather update this morning. Looking at some of the data, it looks like there's a little better chance of some pretty strong storms, maybe even tonight and tomorrow. Now, we're not talking about anything tornadic, but in the atmosphere, we've got some pretty fast-moving winds in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere moving across the Ohio Valley right now. This is the current conditions here at the surface. You can see we've got temperatures in the 70s already here in Charlotte. At 11 a.m. it's 73 degrees. But when you look up here in the Ohio Valley, we've got this cluster of thunder showers and thunderstorms that have developed and even prompted some flash flood warnings and some small hail across Ohio. So there's definitely a little disturbance right in here, and there's another one back here in the boot heel of Missouri moving to the east. So these two areas, as they move around the ridge of high pressure, which is sitting over the southeast, there's a fairly good likelihood that we could see these things kind of crank up later tonight and even tomorrow. I'm going to loop this a couple of times, and we sometimes refer to these as mesoscale convective systems, or MCS as we call them. And they tend to ride the ridge. If you look closely at this loop, notice how they're rotating clockwise around the ridge of high pressure, which is over the southeastern part of the country. This is kind of typical of a summertime pattern where you get these big clusters of thunderstorms moving across the Ohio Valley, and then they move around the fringe of the high. So these things are going to move down into North Carolina tonight, and usually there's a pool of cool air in here that will sustain these storms into the overnight hours as long as there's warm, moist air moving in from the south. So these two little disturbances, we'll have to watch these carefully as we go into tonight. And part of the reason that I'm a little bit more confident we're going to see that is, even though the model data was hinting at that, now that we actually see it showing up, it's kind of interesting to see that. So let's look at some of the model data and show you what I'm talking about. The first thing we're going to look at is the HRW model. We'll go back. This is future radar for today, and notice how it does develop a whole bunch of showers and thunderstorms over here in eastern Tennessee and Kentucky. Now, I kind of missed what's going on here in West Virginia today, but it did a really good job back here in the boot heel of Missouri. You can see how it progresses. These things move east and kind of rotate around. And if you look carefully this afternoon, this is approximately at 6 p.m. tonight across the Carolinas. We've got some very isolated pop-up storms that are going to develop. And as we go into the overnight hours, looks like a big cluster develops. This will likely be what's over West Virginia now, developing over the Raleigh area and then moving to the east. Now, the primary threat from these storms is not going to be tornadoes again. This is going to be some small hail and some damaging winds, some downburst in here. But as we go into tomorrow, it looks like a pretty good line of showers and thunderstorms forms in the mountains first and then moves down into the Piedmont during the day. So this is tomorrow evening. This is Friday evening at about 6 to 7 p.m. So right around sunset, it looks like a pretty good cluster of showers, and they look like Boeing segments. So I would anticipate we'll have some strong winds, likely a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings with some of these cells as they pop up in the afternoon. So just a heads up on what I'm looking at for tomorrow afternoon, and even tonight. I wouldn't be shocked to see a couple strong storms develop in the mountains right now. If we look at the instability up there currently, this is the moist unstable Cape. You can see there is a little bit of fuel for these storms in the mountains, a little bit down here in Lancaster and Chesterfield County, but not much over the foothills. In fact, the reason that there's not much going on there, when you look at the dew points, there's a big pocket of dry air over western North Carolina. These are dew points in the 40s and 50s, and unless you can get some of this more moist air down here to move north, you're likely not going to see much of an issue. So just a little heads up on what I'm looking at for later tonight and really Friday. I think Friday is going to be the day that we'll see some stronger storms develop. I'll let this loop a couple of times and you can kind of see what's going on. If you're in between these showers and storms, you're going to see record-breaking heat today. The record high today is 86 degrees, and we'll probably get close to 84 or 85. So I think the record will be safe, but we'll be awfully close as we go into this afternoon. Of course, I'll be online all afternoon and starting on TV at 4, 5, 6, and 11. Make sure you tune in for the latest, especially if you have outdoor plans later today and tonight. And make sure you download the Charlotte Weather app. You can keep up to date on the radar. It's a great way to check the radar quickly, especially before you head outside. I'll see you today at 4.